All right, everybody, welcome to Blair's Breakdown, round number 3 from Houston, our last race here. Got a lot of stuff to cover with you. The Dirtworks crew is going to talk to us in a minute about the soil, a little bit of a change here for the third race. I want to show you some things on the track that I found to be unique, and I think you're going to like the view. And I'm going to talk about the Austin Forkner crash from qualifying and give you an idea why it happened, so we'll make our way over there now. But as we're walking, let's talk the 250 class first. Colt Nichols at the opening round, look, he was third and it was quiet. It reminded me of Salt Lake City last year. He was just getting these podiums, but they weren't crazy impressive. The raw speed wasn't there. That's how round 1 seemed to me. Round 2, you could see that it was coming around. He was in that battle with Craig and you could tell like the confidence was getting there. And I had this feeling that tonight, like, it's just the way he's progressing. 3, 2, 1. I had this feeling like if he got out of the gate okay, got up front, he'd have a shot at it. And he did. He was so smart in that main event, so smart, because he sat behind Christian Craig, figured out the track, figured out the changes, and then the lap riders, he just played them so good. You know, he makes the move on Craig. Craig responds, gets him back in the whoops like just a madman. Christian Craig in the whoops, it's insane. And then Nichols gets him back and sprints away, using the lap traffic as kind of an advantage, you know, puts a little buffer between him. So it was a great ride for him, not only from a speed perspective, he was faster, but he was just so smart mid-race. And look, this East Coast, this is something we're gonna have to look at every race. The field has been beat up. RJ Hampshire, Austin Forkner, we lost Enzo Lopes at the beginning. We lost another one too. The field from 10 to 22 is a kind of a young field, new riders, rookies, not as much experience. The top guys are gonna be lapping them a lot. Like this East Coast, they're gonna be dealing with lap traffic from the halfway point on for the rest of the year. Just get used to it. So for Colt Nichols to be able to navigate them like that, very, very smart. So congratulations to him. Christian Craig, a great ride from him, a second place on the podium. He seems frustrated, but he also at the same time seemed content because I think he knows the big picture. But to see these 2-star Yamaha riders, both with a red plate, makes sense, right? Jet Lawrence, last thing on him, just a rough day. That crash that he had in practice, just watch the clip. He lands on his leg, the bike just crushes him, and I know he kind of had this attitude like he's fine. I know that thing was bugging him all day. He has not looked the same since that crash, and for him to come out and get a third, absolutely awesome for him to stack those points and kind of get through a night. The pass on Mosiman, I mean, it's like the Forkner Hampshire. It's very, very similar, same kind of corner. This one might have been a little rougher. He even said in the podium interview that he had to get dirty. I don't know if that was the best choice of words. You probably shouldn't say that just in case, but it was definitely aggressive. He got physical with him, and I would imagine Mosiman is probably furious. But congrats to Nichols, congrats to Craig, congrats to Lawrence. That's your 1, 2, 3. Let's look at the track and see what happened to Austin Forkner. Okay, so the 450 main is done, so the track doesn't look the exact same as it did in qualifying, but I want to tell you what happened with Austin Forkner, and it comes down to this corner. Look, this is a big triple, okay? It's not far, but it's got this little bit of a kick and a pop to it. And for these riders to just do this triple, they can do it all day long, no problem. But jumping this and landing and making this corner, I mean, look how short it is from me to the middle of the corner. These guys are having to land, use both brakes, and immediately land, brake, turn, and pivot. So for Forkner and these guys, I think what they were trying to do is just time it just right, maybe even a little bit short, use the landing to kind of slow them up just a little bit. Unfortunately for him, he just landed sideways. Actually, come up here and take a look. He just landed a little short sideways, and that bike just kicked him. And I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to use the obstacle to slow him up. He was just a little too short, but you can see these wheel marks right here. They're sideways because they're coming from right to left. And if you case it just a little too much, you get the frame. Actually, look at this. Come in close. This is the frame. So these guys are framing this landing, and he was probably about right here when it happened. So he's on the front side a little bit, and it just caught him and sent him. So again, it all comes down to this section. He's trying to stop and pivot and turn literally in like a 7-foot gap. And in order to do that, you have to be so precise, so efficient, maybe even a little bit on the short side to use the obstacle to help. He was just a little bit too far back. It caught him, and he's out. So super bummed for him, man. That's just horrible for him. 3rd year in a row with an injury that takes him out of the championship. I personally feel for the guy. Just unfortunate. while I'm here, that's ridiculous. Cooper Webb, Ken Roczen, just sitting into that rut, hopping up on. And now I'm gonna show you what was going on top of these tabletops, because it is absolutely insane how much this track has changed. Let's go. Before I get to the tabletops, I just wanna show you how deep this rut actually is. I mean, this is now like up to my, I don't know, a third of the way up my tib fib. Now, I don't have the longest tib fib on the planet, let's just be honest. But this is deep. Come over here a little bit too. Talk about that frame. Look at these guys, they're leaning in on the left. Their frame is scraping from back here all the way off, which is absolutely insane. And now look, you can see from here, look at the ruts right there. Oh, that is insane. But let's go to the tabletop and I'm gonna show you something a little bit unique. Okay, so check it out. Going from table to table and off is so hard. You gotta use your body and your bike. And look how flat it is right here. This is the inside where nobody was taken, because obviously it's hard to get to. But if you look, to go from table to table, it's flat. So you need to use your whole body and bike to get that lift. And it's so hard for these guys to do that. It actually becomes a little bit easier once a rut forms and once a little bit of a kicker forms, because then you can use it for help. That's maybe 8 minutes into the main. This is what it looks like 20 minutes into the main, when they're casing right here. This is all casing on purpose. They're landing in this little rut right here. Look how efficient they have to be. They're not right here, they're not right here. They're having to come out of that rut, land right here. Now they're using this lift to give them a little bit of a pop, so it's pretty easy. You saw Webb there late in the main event doing this section super easy. Now, it wasn't easy to stay straight and hit the line. It was easy for him to get the pop because of the ruts. Let's go to the second tabletop. This one is way worse than this first one. Look at what happens in a 450 main event. These guys were all landing here, gassing it and making this pop, and look at how this divot formed. They literally dug. I mean, halfway up my leg, this has dug itself out, but now they're using this little pop right here to just pop back over. So as difficult as this section is to go from flat to flat, once it gets broken in like that, it actually becomes easier in a way if you can stay in your rut, because now the obstacle helps you get that pop. So it's incredible. You watch them on screen, it doesn't do it justice. This is so difficult and so technical, and these guys handled it just incredibly. Let's go find the track crew. Let's talk about the soil and some of the changes. And I have a couple of questions for them that I'm gonna sneak up on them. I don't know if they're gonna be ready for. Hope they're not mad, but I got something I wanna ask them. So the track crew is like wide open for whatever reason. I guess they think they're getting out of here tonight or something, but they ruined what I wanted to ask them. So my sneaky question's gonna have to wait until Indy. But we're gonna ask something different. What's up? Hey, so question for you on whoop build. I kind of changed what I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
I've noticed this year that the whoops seem to be a little fatter, rounder, fuller.
Yep.
What's with that design? Is that an equipment thing? Is that a design choice by you guys? Because it just seems like they're not as peaky and tall. They're just kind of more fat and round.
Yeah.
What's the reason?
So the dirt came in a little softer than what we would have liked, so we build them with the dozer instead of the loader. When you build them with the dozer, there's less of a chance of you getting sideways, and then you can make them more perfectly flat with the dozer versus the loader. And we make them 14 feet apart instead of the 13, so they're a little bit more spaced apart.
14 with the dozer or with the loader?
14 with the dozer.
Okay.
And then 13 with the loader.
Okay.
So this year we've only seen dozer whoops so far. So this set was the biggest set we had. I think there was 12 or 13 whoops.
12 on a starter.
12 on a starter. Yeah, so I mean it was tricky tonight.
Okay, yeah, because I'm just curious. Every time I go to the whoops, I always look at them and see like the faces, because everybody knows, well, I think everybody knows that it's mainly the top 6 inches these guys are hitting. And I've noticed that they've been a little bit flatter. So again, that's not necessarily a design choice as it is an equipment choice, right?
Yeah, it's for us, it's more what we build the whoops with is based on how soft the dirt is.
Okay.
Softer, dozer, a little more hard pack, loader.
Okay, so we're going to Indy. Same soil, I'm assuming, as always. I mean,
yeah.
I'm assuming we're going to see the same type of thing.
I was looking at the weather today, and it's supposed to rain on Monday, and we're bringing the dirt in on Tuesday. So
it might be raining during load-in, which means it's exposed, because normally it's tarped and covered.
Correct.
So right now it might be fine. You open it up, the rain comes in, and all of a sudden it's going to get softer. how much time do you need to get it in there to air it out? Because do you guys get right to the build, or do you let it get in there and kind of let it air itself out a bit?
We build as it's rolling in. Once we get the floor pushed out in a little pile, we start to build. So
is that why there's some tracks that have soft pockets? I mean, even here had, some areas looked actually got kind of hard packed, but some areas stayed soft. Is that mainly just by what gets brought in and when?
Yeah, this dirt had some soft spots in the pile, we noticed. So we tried to kind of separate it in our pile. We used the drier stuff for the triple faces and the finish line takeoff. Some of the wetter stuff will bury inside the finish line landing and then cap it with dry dirt. But rolling into Indy, I think we're gonna see a soft track, maybe like we've seen in the past, lots of ruts. So I don't know.
I mean, it might all be soft, right? It might just, it's Indy. Like, I feel like Indy or Toronto used to be that way, where it didn't really matter what you did, right? It's just, it's gonna be ruddy.
Yep.
Okay, I did notice something else today. This is the third race.
Yep.
Of course, it's still got some ruts, but it got harder packed in spots. I noticed guys were washing out, sliding a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that just because we had the extra day for it to dry itself out naturally? Did you guys do anything different?
I think it was a combo of the extra day, and it was also a combo of the fact that we didn't water the night before the race. So the first two Houstons, we just put a light coat down before race day, and it was kind of humid between Houston 2 and Houston 3.
Yeah.
And we were happy with the moisture, so we just left it. And I think because the dirt was a little drier, we saw some hard spots.
So that extra day, the dryer, and outside, it's been humid the last few days. I've noticed that too. So even in the stadium, that's felt, and the soil responds?
Yeah.
Okay. Indy's track, anything unique at the first one that you can think of right now? I haven't seen the layout yet.
So the first two Indies have the bridge.
Oh, okay.
And from the first Indy to the second Indy, the starting gate switches from one side of the stadium all the way to the other.
Same start straight though, but just a change on sides?
Yeah, the gate goes from one side to the other. So pretty similar between the 2-day build. The layout of the track is pretty similar, but all new jumps between the first two races.
Okay.
And then the third Indy, which we have 3 days to turn around, is more of a drastic change.
Like this one was?
Yes.
1 and 2, similar.
You're
third
see
one.
that pattern all season, kind of.
Okay, so we'll see that at Arlington and everything. Okay.
Yep.
All right, sounds good. I got some other things brewing, and some of the people in the comments have been kind of letting me know some questions they have, so just be ready for them.
All right.
I got some good stuff coming for you. Thank you. Oh man, 450 class. Look, Cooper Webb and Ken Roczen, they're magnets. They always find each other late, and for real, Ken Roczen's gonna have to get one of these. It's like almost every time Cooper finds a way to get a handle of this thing, and man, he's got to be so frustrated because it's just time after time. I mean, think of Arlington, you know, the closest race in history. You think of Oakland, just these last lap passes. Ken's gonna have to do something. I don't know if he has to be physical, but he's gonna have to do something to stop this, because honestly, the trend is just building every time. And Cooper Webb was smart. Look, he waited to the end. Actually, I rephrase. He didn't wait to the end. He did everything he could to stay there. Kenny pulled back away, and he just dug deep. And the thing is once they got to Dean Wilson, I think Cooper was just like a shark in the water. Like, he knew there was going to be an opportunity because of lap traffic, and he just was smart. I mean, Wilson held him up. I feel bad for Dean. Dean didn't do it on purpose. He was in the middle of his own kind of race, and he obviously doesn't want to affect the outcome, but he did, and I understand Kenny being upset by it. But I do want to say one thing from a points perspective. Kenny loses 4 points with the penalty. Then he loses 3 points tonight on that last lap. That is 7 points that could really, really bite him at the end of this championship. I mean, if he goes to the final round and it comes down to a win or a podium, these 7 points could play a huge role. So for Ken Roczen, he's got to be pretty frustrated. He gets the red plate tonight, which is great, but in the grand scheme of things, 7 points is huge, and he lost 7 points in the last 4 days over things that, just like bummer, like, you know, things that he would love to take back. So that's my thoughts on the first two. Let's head up the elevator. I'm on my way to the press conference, and we'll talk about Adam Cianciarulo. I got a lot of thoughts on him. Let's head upstairs. Thank you. Got some Miss Vicky's, awesome. Okay, so Adam Cianciarulo, I am super, super proud of him. This crazy raw speed that he and Chase Sexton are bringing to the 450 class. Again, I don't think they can do an entire main event like that. So for him to be able to halfway through settle in and go, you know what, a podium is a win tonight, it was so smart for him. And he just needs to stack some podium rides, you know, put together 2 or 3 or 4 and just become an every week kind of podium guy and then take your shot at the win. So to watch him be really composed tonight and realize that he didn't have that pace that the other guys had, settle into 3rd. I mean, that was a brilliant ride, a very smart ride for him. And he's only 9 points down in the championship. So I talked to the team right after, just talking to his mechanic and him a little bit. They're super happy about it. There we go. They're super happy about it. And so yeah, they're super happy about it, and they should be, because again, this is a long championship, and for Adam, I feel like he's had this thing where he just wants that win, and he treats every race like it's the one, and it's the only one that matters. So for him to go and just get a 3rd and make that decision halfway through to settle in, that's a big win in my opinion. So congratulations to him. Good ride to Justin Barcia too. He fought hard. Eli Tomac was a little bit off in that main event, but overall I think it'll be okay. But he was a little off the pace, which was surprising because he was the fastest qualifier. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, if he's the fastest qualifier, they're in trouble. And then heat race in the main event, he never really looked like he had anything going. It's going to get dark right here. So anyways, that's my thought on the 450 class. Again, this is Blair's Breakdown. Thank you guys for tuning in. When we get to Indy, we'll try some more things, look at from some other angles, and glad you guys are enjoying the show. We'll be back in a week. See ya.